Have you been telling yourself, I'm fine, I'll find something soon, for weeks while secretly feeling like you're drowning? Or maybe you're so angry you want to scream at everyone who still has a job? If you're going through this, you're not having a breakdown. You're grieving, and grief has predictable stages that you need to understand.
In the next minutes, I'm walking you through the 5 stages of grief after job loss, what each one looks like, and most importantly, where you are right now. Let's dive in.
The 5 stages of grief were originally described by psychiatrist Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, and they apply perfectly to job loss. Thousands have used this framework to understand their unemployment journey. Today, we're covering denial. This can't be happening. Anger. This is so unfair. Bargaining. What if I had depression? Nothing matters anymore. And acceptance. I can move forward. Here's what grief after job loss really feels like. One day you're numb and in denial. The next you're furious. Then you're bargaining with the universe. Then you can't get out of bed. It feels chaotic and broken. Maybe you're experiencing pretending everything is fine when it's not, explosive anger at random moments, obsessing over what you could have done differently. And here's what nobody tells you about grief. It's not a straight line. You don't go through it once and you're done. First stage, denial. This is your brain's shock absorber. This can't be real. This isn't actually happening to me. What denial looks like. You got laid off Friday, but Monday you're still checking your work email. You tell everyone it's just temporary, or they'll realize they need me back. You haven't updated your resume because you don't really believe you need to. Denial isn't weakness. It's protection. Your brain needs time to process shock. Think of it like an anesthetic before surgery. It numbs you so the full impact doesn't destroy you all at once. But here's the issue. Staying in denial prevents you from taking action. The longer you stay here, the worse the eventual crash will be.
How to move through denial. Do one small concrete action that acknowledges reality. Update your LinkedIn status. Tell one friend the truth. Save one job posting. Just one thing that says, this is real. You're in denial if you're still using present tense about your job, avoiding the word unemployed, or waiting for them to call you back.
Second stage, anger. This is when reality crashes through and you realize this is real, this is unfair, and you're pissed. What anger looks like. You're rage scrolling LinkedIn looking at your former coworkers still employed. You snap at family members. You fantasize about telling your ex-boss what you really think. You feel hot fury in your chest constantly.
Anger is grief turned outward. It's your psyche saying, I'm not accepting this lying down. Someone needs to be held accountable. It's also easier to feel anger than to feel the sadness underneath.
The problem with staying in anger, it burns relationships and opportunities. You come across as bitter in interviews. You isolate yourself. And chronic anger literally damages your health.
How to move through anger. Channel it productively. Write angry letters you never send. Exercise intensely. Scream in your car. The goal isn't to suppress anger, it's to feel it without destroying things.
You're in anger if you can't think about your job loss without rage, if you're bitter toward people who still work there, or if you're fantasizing about revenge.
Third stage, bargaining. This is your brain desperately trying to rewind time. If only I had, what if I'd, maybe I can still. What bargaining looks like. You replay the last month obsessively. If only I'd worked later, said yes to that project, kept my mouth shut in that meeting. You might even draft groveling emails to your boss. You're negotiating with a reality that's already happened.
Bargaining is your mind's attempt to regain control. If you can find the exact moment you went wrong, maybe you can fix it. It's the illusion that this was preventable, which is less scary than admitting some things are beyond our control.
The problem, bargaining keeps you stuck in the past. You're mentally time traveling instead of being present. And it reinforces the false belief that you could have prevented this, which breeds toxic guilt.
How to move through bargaining. Write down all your what ifs in one sitting, every single one. Then write at the bottom, and none of this can change what happened. Read it daily. Reality can't be negotiated with.
You're in bargaining if you start sentences with if only or what if you're obsessively reviewing past decisions, or if you're considering begging for your job back. Fourth stage, depression. This is when the full weight hits. Denial is gone, anger is exhausted, bargaining didn't work, and you're left with the raw reality. This happened, and it hurts.
What depression looks like. You can't get out of bed. Job applications feel pointless. You're sleeping 12 hours or can't sleep at all. Food doesn't taste like anything. You wonder if you'll ever feel normal again. Everything is gray. Depression is grief's deepest stage. It's not weakness, it's integration. Your psyche is finally processing the full magnitude of the loss. All those defenses are down, and you're feeling everything you've been trying not to feel. Important. This is grief depression, not clinical depression. Grief depression comes in waves and connects to your loss. Clinical depression is constant and needs professional treatment. If this lasts months with no change, please talk to a doctor.
Here's what's actually happening. Your brain is rewiring. You're adapting to a new reality. This isn't permanent. It's transformation in its most painful phase. The caterpillar has dissolved in the cocoon. Depression typically lasts 2 to 6 weeks in grief, not constantly. It comes and goes. Some days are better. Then you crash again. That's normal. The crashes get shorter and less frequent over time.
How to move through depression. Don't try to rush it. Set tiny goals. Shower. Eat one meal. Walk outside for 5 minutes. That's enough. Grief depression needs to be felt, not fixed. You're not doing it wrong.
You're in depression if you feel heavy emptiness, if everything requires enormous effort, if you're isolating yourself, or if you're thinking, what's the point?
Fifth stage, acceptance. Not happiness, not everything happens for a reason. Just, okay, this happened. I'm going to be okay. I can move forward. What acceptance looks like. You can talk about your job loss without spiraling. You're actually applying to jobs because you believe something will work out. You're making plans for your future. You feel stable. Not ecstatic, but stable.
Acceptance is not, I'm glad this happened. It's not forced positivity. It's not, everything happens for a reason. It's simply, this is my reality now, and I can work with reality.
Acceptance is powerful because it's the first stage where you stop fighting. You're not denying, raging, bargaining, or drowning. You're finally present. And from presence comes action.
Important. Acceptance doesn't mean you never feel other stages again. You can be in acceptance Monday and back in anger Tuesday. That's normal. Grief isn't linear. You're allowed to cycle. From acceptance, you can plan. You can interview without desperation. You can consider new careers. You can imagine a different future. Not because the old one was bad, but because this is what is. You can't force acceptance. It comes when you've genuinely felt the other stages. But you can invite it by practicing radical acknowledgement. This is what happened. This is where I am. This is what I have to work with.
You're in acceptance if you can say, I lost my job, without emotional flooding. If you're making realistic plans, or if you feel ready, not excited, just ready to move forward.
Here's the truth nobody tells you. You'll go through all 5 stages multiple times. You'll be in acceptance one day and back in bargaining the next. Each trigger, seeing your replacement hired, running out of severance, getting rejected from a dream job, can throw you back into any stage. That's not failure. That's how grief works. It's waves, not steps. But here's the hope. Even though you cycle, the overall trend is forward. You spend less time in denial each round. Depression waves get shorter. Acceptance periods get longer. You're healing in spirals. Give yourself permission to not get over it in a neat timeline. Grief has its own schedule. Your only job is to keep showing up.
Can I share something personal for a second?
I thought I was stuck in depression because I kept cycling back to it, even after reaching acceptance. I'd have good weeks, then one LinkedIn post would send me spiraling. I felt like I was failing at grief.
What that experience taught me, you can't fail at grief. There's no wrong way to feel loss. The cycling isn't regression, it's integration. Each time you visit a stage, you process deeper layers. I'm sharing this because I want you to know, wherever you are in these stages, however many times you've cycled, you're doing it right. Grief doesn't have a wrong way.
All right, let's recap the 5 stages and how to recognize where you are.
Stage 1. Denial. This isn't real. Remove one piece of denial today. Stage 2. Anger. This is unfair. Channel it physically. Don't suppress. Stage 3. Bargaining. If only. Write your what ifs, then draw a line through them. Stage 4. Depression. Nothing matters. Set micro goals. Feel it fully. Get help if needed. Stage 5. Acceptance. I can move forward. Practice radical acknowledgement of reality.
Remember, you'll cycle through these. That's normal. The goal isn't to complete grief, it's to move with it instead of against it.
If you do one thing today, identify your current stage honestly. Just name it. I'm in anger, or I'm cycling between bargaining and depression. Awareness is the first step. I know grief is exhausting. I know you wish you could skip to acceptance and stay there. I know you're tired of feeling so much. But you feeling these stages, naming them, moving through them, that's not weakness. That's emotional courage. Most people avoid grief entirely and stay stuck for years.
6 months from now, you'll look back and see how far you've spiraled upward. You won't be over it, but you'll be through the worst, and acceptance will be your new baseline, not a rare visitor.
One day, you'll tell your job loss story without your chest tightening. You'll say, that was a hard time, instead of, this is destroying me. You'll get there.
You're not broken because you're grieving. You're human, and humans heal in spirals, not straight lines. You're not alone in this grief. Over 50,000 of us understand. Hit like if this helped you identify your stage. Comment which stage you're in right now. Let's normalize this journey together.
Be patient with your process. There's no deadline for healing. This is Mindstick, reminding you, grief is not linear, and neither is healing. See you next time.